Journal entry from our trip to California, Sunday, May 28th, 2006. What a delight to travel and see new vistas. Flight to LA was less than 2 hours, and we saw snow remnants on mountains. Rented a red car. First stop, Venice Beach, which I have been watching via live webcam from Sidewalk Cafe. Glorious weather, although a bit chilly, brought out hordes of people and lots of pet dogs. Lots of skateboards, bikes, etc. It looked like a version of Woodstock. Fried shrimp, best we've ever tasted, and a prime table on the patio to people watch. We trudged down to feel the Pacific with our footsies. Cold but nice. Fell in love with the sand caressing our feet. Want to keep sand at home to do the same. A few yards away was Muscle Beach, and we were just in time to see a bevy of muscle-bound beauties parade for a prize. Our not-so-great bodies were in awe. Most we've ever paid for parking, $15 for 4 hours. Next stop, Grauman's Theater. Had to ask at a pharmacy for directions. On the way, I spied the Hollywood Hills sign. Parked for free along Residential Street. What a treat! Highlights were Joey Brown's Mouth, John Wayne, Doris Day, and Jane Russell and Marilyn Monroe. My feet were bigger than all the women, unfortunately. Across the street was the old Hollywood Roosevelt Hotel. Didn't have time to visit the Laurel and Hardy Steps, so left for Visalia. Ate at Hometown Buffet, which is a carbon copy of El Paso's and Wichita's and St. Louis's. Made it to our Econo Lodge before dark. Really looking forward to Sequoia National Forest. Day 2, Monday, May 29th, 2006. Heaven on earth, the only way to describe Sequoia National Forest. Thank you, Mr. Muir, for fighting to create and preserve this treasure for America. We started for the forest at 6:30 a.m., past emerald groves of apricot trees and lemon trees and grape arbors. Right before the gate to Sequoia, we stopped at a store that had next to it the most gorgeous view of a raging river, the Kaweah, K-A-W-E-H-A. Its strength was breathtaking. $20 to enter the forest, good for 1 week. A great deal, I say. As soon as we entered, every turn of the road brought forth awe and excitement. And as we approached the giant forest, gigantic trees stunned us. Their sheer size was overwhelming. But the best was yet to come. First stop, Crescent Meadow Trail, the gem of the Sierra. And the entire trail was ours. No human beings at all. How refreshing was the air, green meadow and trees that enveloped us. We took many oxygen cocktails and were drunk on the freshness of the air. Spotted huge pine cones, but only picked up a tiny one to bring home. The larger ones were much too sticky and they hurt. They were very spiny. Talked to a personable park employee who had been stationed at Fort Bliss in El Paso. He had never seen a mountain lion there at the forest, but did see bears. As we left Crescent Trail, I spotted a mule deer, sprightly nibbling his breakfast. Drove through a fallen log. Next, the climb up Morro Rock. Vistas were fabulous and reminded me of pictures seen of Austria. Snow-covered mountains of the Sierra Madre. Steps were of a suitable size and railings flanked both sides. However, when the trail turned narrow, I got a little queasy and I couldn't go on. I sent Honey up and he almost made the pinnacle. I then got my nerve up, after a few minutes, to travel a few more yards. I then told Honey to try to make it all the way to the top, and he did. At the top, Honey saw 2 Japanese women chanting, and when he asked them to take his picture, they stared and laughed. Kind of strange. Honey says that someone could easily fall off the top if accidentally or not accidentally pushed. How scary. Going down was simpler than I thought. 400 steps is the sum total of steps to the top of Morro Rock. General Sherman Tree Trail next, and what can I say? Words are inadequate no matter how Shakespearean the commentator. We coddled him, saluted him, bowed to him, took videos and pics of him, but he's used to all this. Couldn't stop thinking at all the history embedded in his bark. Standing in the same spot at the time when Christ was born. And then I also thought of all the famous people that had gazed upon his splendor. Presidents, movie stars, ambassadors. We hated to leave him. Topeka Falls Trail next, a semi-rough path that befuddled us a few times. The river was to the right of us throughout. We only made it 75% of the way because it was getting steeper. And there were 2 adorable tiny waterfalls there.